Hi there. Glad you're here to help us get through the changing and replanting of some aloe babies to a new pot. I didn't particularly want this pot, but it fits it fits the size of the plant, so I'm going to use it. This pot actually is really more for, I feel it's more for plants that you want to keep a close eye on because they need to make sure and maintain moisture levels. Aloe, you don't have to worry about that because it's a succulent and it particularly does not like a lot of water. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and do that anyway. Then I have my potting soil here and I have added sand to it. When transplanting or planting succulents, you want to have one part of your soil be sand because that's the kind of soil succulents like and are used to. So I'm going to dump it in there. I may add a little more sand. I'm not sure that's even enough sand, but I'll put a little more soil in here and then I'll add sand. This was not an easy plant to take away from its mother. It was a lot deeper than I thought, and the roots were a lot tougher than I thought. So they suggest you cut it with a knife, which I had a nice sharp knife, but even a nice sharp knife was a challenge for these roots because they were so tough. And I suppose that's probably because they have such dry soil in them. I think that makes them more tough because there's no moisture, but that's what they like. I'm going to grab a handful of sand to add to this. Okay, and I'll sprinkle a little more sand in the soil the potting soil I've already put in there. Mix it in so it's not in one place. Anyway, as you are potting plants, and if you are potting them, whether you're transplanting them from a smaller pot to a larger pot, or you're putting them in for the first time, and maybe they're even babies, make sure you plant it at the same depth that it had in the former pot because they like that. And so I'm trying to get excuse me. I'm trying to get this to the same depth that it was in that pot. I think that's about right. So I set it in there. Pardon me. I'll add the potting soil and tamp around it. Try to get it so that it's pretty tight. It can begin to grow but also maintain its uprightness. I think I'm going to need some more soil. That there to hold it up and grab some more. I've mixed it in, so I'm going to pour this in around this little baby. Make sure it's even all the way around. Okay, I tap it around, make sure it's firmly anchored, and I'll give it a drink, but being a succulent, I don't want to give it too much water. The succulents don't really like that much water. I think I will spray it to get the potting soil off the edges. I waited a little too long to transplant this one. It's pretty big, but it will be better for the mother plant and this plant for it to be on its own. Remember, when you're repotting plants, certain plants do better in certain types of pots. I have found that I like to use pots with definitely with a tray under them or a saucer under them, because that way they don't get too wet in their pot and they don't rot. And like I said earlier, this type of pot I would usually use for tropicals that like to have a lot of water, or at least stay moist, because with these pots you can let it be, it can be adjustable. They're inside, underneath the bottom, there's a screen, and in the screen there is in fact, I might be able to open it. I have another one here that's not used. I'll show you. In the bottom, there is a screen, and there's also a piece of cord, which is like a watering tube. You put water in on this side, it goes down into the bowl, and then as the plant needs the water, it sucks it up with the cord that's in the bottom. I wouldn't need that for an aloe plant like this one, but I didn't realize the plant was so much bigger than it was. And so I'm going to use this one this time. The next time I transplant it, I'll move it to a different type of pot. And if you're using these kind of plant pots, they're really good for plants like the Areca palm, because they like to be moist. So it will adjust that for you. It will stay moist as it needs to be by this cord in the bottom, picking up water from the bowl and bringing it up to the roots of the plant. So that's something to think about. I've never been a fan of plastic pots, but these are really good for that particular type of plant. I think probably ceramic pots work really well for succulents, because they will tend to probably dry out, and succulents are okay with that. As long as you have water in the bottom, they can pull water up with the roots. And as you may already know, some succulents don't do very well if you don't have a bowl underneath them so that they can either pull up the water or let too much water drain out the bottom, because if they get too wet, they will rot. An example of that is my jade, which I have it in a little pot with holes in the bottom, and I just pour a little water in the bowl here, and then it takes the water it needs into the roots, and it does just fine. But I have killed jades by using a pot that was ceramic or clay and didn't have a drainage hole because the roots got too wet and the plant just died. So just remember that. If you're doing a succulent like the jade, always have it in a tray, a saucer, or something where the water can drain out and it doesn't stay wet in the pot. There are a lot of other plants that I will be potting to show you. Some of them are different than the aloe, and they require more moisture, and so they also will require potting soil that is mostly has more substance to it. This is a succulent. Succulents like to have sand in their mix, but tropicals prefer to have a mix with some peat in it and good medium that gives them the nourishment they need. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, please join us on our Facebook page, A&L Forever Plants, and ask questions or make comments. If you have any ideas of your own that have worked for you, I would really love to hear about those. So please share those with us. And that is A&L Forever Plants on Facebook. We will be coming back again in a few days with a new video, and I look forward to sharing more plant ideas with you then. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much.